My name is Samantha Hayes, and at 35, I stood at the back of my brother Jack's Navy SEAL ceremony, dressed in civilian clothes, invisible to my family who believed I was a military dropout. The irony was profound. I was a colonel in Air Force. Special operations, a career I had kept secret for national security reasons. As I scanned the crowd, I noticed my brother's commanding general, Rear Admiral Wilson, looking in my direction, his eyes widening in recognition. Before I share what happened next, I'd love to know where you're reading from. Drop a comment. If you've ever had to hide your success from those who doubted you, growing up in San Diego, as the daughter of retired Navy Captain Thomas Hayes, military excellence wasn't just encouraged, it was expected. Our home was adorned with naval memorabilia, and dinner conversations revolved around maritime strategy and military history. My father's booming voice filled our dining room with tales of his deployments, his eyes gleaming as Jack absorbed every word. I listened just as eagerly, but my enthusiasm was never quite received the same way. Samantha has a sharp mind, my father would tell his Navy buddies, but lacks the discipline for service. This stung, especially since I'd spent my childhood dreaming of following in his footsteps. I ran before school each morning, studied naval tactics from his bookshelves, and applied to the Naval Academy with perfect grades. When I was accepted, it was the proudest day of my life. My father hugged me, a rare gesture, and said gruffly, "Don't waste this opportunity." The Naval Academy was everything I'd hoped for, challenging and fulfilling. I excelled in strategy courses and physical training, graduating in the top percentile. What my family never knew was that during my third year, intelligence officers approached me, noting my aptitude in key areas. They offered me a position in a classified program requiring immediate transition and absolute secrecy. The cover story was simple. I'd washed out of the academy. It was believable many talented candidates didn't make it and would draw minimal attention. I agreed, believing my family would eventually learn the truth. I was wrong. I just don't understand how you could throw it all away, my mother, Eleanor, said during my first visit home after the dropout. Her disappointment showed in her tight lips and averted eyes. "Your father pulled strings to get you considered," she added. "I didn't ask him to," I replied quietly, the classified nature of my position sealing my lips. My father was. Worse, he didn't rage or lecture. He simply stopped talking about me. When relatives asked about his children, he'd light up discussing Jack's accomplishments at the academy, then change the subject when my name arose. Thanksgiving dinners became endurance tests. "Jack's been selected for advanced tactical training," my father would announce, slicing turkey with precision. "Top of his class," my mother would add, her hand on Jack's shoulder, her eyes sliding past me. "It's comforting when your children find their purpose," she'd say. My cousin Melanie once asked tactlessly, "So, Sam, are you still working that administrative job at the insurance company?" My cover story, a boring corporate role designed to discourage questions. "Yes," I answered, swallowing the lie in my pride. "Good benefits, I guess," she replied with a thin smile. Meanwhile, my actual career advanced at an extraordinary pace. I couldn't tell them about night operations in countries untouched by American forces, the intelligence I gathered that saved lives, or the commendations accumulating in a secure facility. When I was promoted to major, my parents were celebrating Jack's elite training program. When I received a silver star in a private ceremony, my mother was lamenting to friends about her daughter who didn't apply herself. Jack wasn't unkind, but followed our parents' lead, growing distant as our supposed paths diverged. He'd call with news of his accomplishments, ending with an awkward, "So, how's the office job?" I'd murmur congratulations and offer vague updates about my fictional corporate life, hating the deception. Years passed, the divide widening. I developed a thick skin about my family's perception, focusing on my missions and their impact. But the pain of being the family disappointment never fully subsided. Every achievement in my secret life was shadowed by the knowledge that those who should be proudest didn't know. My transition from Naval Academy student to Air Force Special Operations was abrupt and intense. While my family believed I was settling for civilian mediocrity, I was undergoing some of the most rigorous training the military offers. The program specialized in intelligence gathering and analysis with tactical applications suiting my skills. At an unmarked compound in Virginia, days began at 4 a.m. and ended after midnight. Physical conditioning was the foundation. The real work involved processing intelligence in real-time crisis situations under extreme stress. Hayes, your mind works differently, my instructor, Major Lawrence, noted after I solved a complex simulation. You see patterns where others see chaos. This aptitude accelerated my progress. I completed the 18-month course in 11. My first assignment was a low-profile intelligence operation in Eastern Europe, where Russian influence created ripple effects. Colonel Diana Patterson, a pioneering woman in special operations, became my mentor. The system isn't built for us, she told me frankly, but that's why we succeed in it. We approach problems from angles others don't consider. Under her guidance, I navigated operational challenges and the unique difficulties of being a woman in this elite space. By my 4th year, I had been promoted twice and led intelligence teams and operations across 3 continents. My specialty was extracting critical information in environments where traditional assets couldn't operate. A mission in Syria prevented a major terrorist attack in Europe, earning classified commendations for my judgment and innovative approach. Yet, each recognition in my classified world deepened the contrast with my family life. I attended award ceremonies alone, celebrated promotions with colleagues who knew only pieces of my story, and maintained my cover as a corporate drone during family visits. Congratulations on your promotion to team lead in customer service, my mother said, once, clearly trying to show interest in what she believed was my career. I had just been promoted to lieutenant colonel after a counterterrorism operation in Somalia. Thanks, Mom, I replied, hating the deception. Operational security requirements meant maintaining secrecy, even as I rose to command larger teams and more sensitive missions. By age 34, I was a Colonel 1 of the youngest to achieve this rank leading operations in over a dozen countries, saving lives through intelligence work. My specialty expanded to disrupting human trafficking and preventing hostile cyber operations. Achieving this while navigating skepticism, male-designed equipment, and developing leadership styles in male-dominated environments made my rise remarkable. Yet, I carried the burden of my family's disappointment. Each classified deployment meant stepping back into the role of Sam the underachiever at family events, deflecting questions with corporate jargon and redirecting conversations to Jack's naval career. Last Thanksgiving marked a low point. I'd just returned from a 36-hour joint intelligence operation with NATO forces, preventing a security breach. Instead of recovery time, I went to my parents' house, exchanging tactical gear for civilian clothes. My father toasted Jack's selection for SEAL training, announcing whose selection continues our family's tradition of excellence. My mother whispered to her sister, "At least one of our children is making us proud." The comment sliced through me. My cousin Melanie cornered me, suggesting an administrative job at her law firm. "Probably pays better than what you're making," she offered. I thanked her politely, imagining her reaction if she knew I'd briefed the Joint Chiefs the previous week. When conversation turned to a recent military operation I'd helped coordinate, I sat silently as my father and uncle debated incorrect details. The urge to correct them burned, but I swallowed it. Jack announced his engagement to Allison, a naval medical officer. As champagne flowed, my secure phone vibrated with priority orders, immediate deployment in 3 hours. I pulled Jack aside, offering congratulations but explaining the work. Emergency. His face fell. Seriously, Sam? What kind of insurance emergency happens on Thanksgiving? I wouldn't leave if it wasn't necessary, I said, unable to explain further. My mother remarked loudly, "Of course Samantha has to leave. Her priorities have always been different." My father's subtle headshake followed me as I left. The mission kept me deployed through Christmas. When I returned, I learned my absence at Jack's engagement party had been interpreted as disregard. "Your brother was hurt," my mother said. "The least you could do is show up." She couldn't know I'd been rescuing kidnapped aide. Workers earning another classified commendation dot as Jack's seal ceremony approached. I reached a breaking point, torn between national security and my crumbling family ties. I deliberated for weeks but decided to attend, requesting rare leave, arranging secure transport, and choosing civilian clothes to blend in. At the Naval Special Warfare Command facility, I arrived late, slipping into the back row. My parents sat prominently, my father in his dress uniform, my mother elegant beside him. The ceremony's discipline and tradition mirrored my own classified ceremonies, but this was public, celebrated openly. I analyzed the security perimeter out of habit, while admiring Jack's achievement. Midway through, I noticed Admiral Wilson, who knew my service record, on the platform. I shifted to avoid recognition, but when Jack received his honors, my slight movement caught Wilson's eye. His expression shifted confusion to certainty as he spotted a decorated Air Force officer in civilian clothes. I planned a quick exit, but Admiral Wilson reached me, his voice carrying, "Colonel Hayes, I didn't expect to see you here." My parents nearby froze. "It's good to see you, sir," I responded formally. "Last time was that joint operation in the Gulf, wasn't it?" He continued, "Your intelligence saved lives." My mother's hand flew to her mouth. Jack's expression turned bewildered. "Colonel?" My father said the word foreign. Wilson turned, noticing my family. "Captain Hayes, your daughter is one of our most valuable assets in special operations." Commander Brooks approached, adding, "Your team's work on the Antalya operation was remarkable." My cover dissolved in real time. "Is this true?" "Sam," Jack asked. "Yes," I confirmed. My father pressed, "You're a colonel in Air Force Special Operations?" "Intelligence Division," I specified. "Recruited from the academy into a classified program." My mother looked unsteady. "All this time," a major added, "Colonel Hayes' analysis changed our approach in Moga." Jack connected dots. "That's why you missed my engagement party. Coordinating an extraction, Eastern Europe," I said. My father asked about my clearance level. "Higher than I can specify," I answered. Wilson concluded, "Your daughter's service record is exceptional." Before Wilson left, leaving me exposed before my family, "Why let us believe you'd failed?" My mother asked, hurt evident. "It was about operational security," I explained. My father began to understand. "To reach colonel at your age." Jack noted my unexplained absences and scars. My mother whispered, "All those things we said." The family dinner that followed was the first honest gathering of my adult life. My father asked about my Air Force path. "The program suited my skills," I said. My mother struggled. "All those times we thought you were irresponsible." I explained. Jack laughed. "I must have sounded like an idiot bragging about my promotions." "You didn't," I assured him. My mother admitted, "We should have trusted you." 6 months later, at a 4th of July barbecue, my father introduced me to his Navy colleagues. "My daughter, Colonel Hayes, Air Force Special Operations General." My mother had created a discreet display of my unclassified commendations and a photo from my brigadier general promotion. Jack greeted me with a grin, general, burger, or hot dog. The afternoon was light, built on partial truth. My father showed pride, referencing my expertise and deferring to my insight. In the family photo, my mother said, both my children serving, just in different ways. At my promotion ceremony 2 weeks later, my family sat in the reserved seats, their pride evident. My mother hugged me, whispering, I always knew you were exceptional. My father said, well done, General Hayes. The journey from disappointment to recognition was complicated by secrets, but being partially known brought peace. If you've been mistaken or kept parts of yourself hidden, know that truth can emerge unexpectedly. Your worth remains valid, even unrecognized. Share your stories below, and if this resonated, please like and subscribe. The most powerful truths are often carried quietly until the right moment arrives.